Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like, comment below if there's something here that's useful to you. Over 360 audios available for you to check out in a variety of subjects. Also, please send me a message on Twitter at PO Perception or on my website that's here in the About Me section of this channel. And we can set up a session if you're looking for entertainment coaching, life, business, or relationship coaching. I do all of those things, among other ventures outside the coaching industry. Hopefully, it's something I can help you with. But anyway, we're going to talk about kind of building emotional toughness, how to become emotionally tougher. That's certainly necessary today. I think in a lot of ways, our society has gotten more emotionally aware about self love, and that is wonderful, but it also has created some weakness. It also has created some dependency on, the way things should be, ought to be, could be, whatever. And so a lot of times people get tied up in their emotions and held back. Now, that's not to say don't have emotions, but what I'm saying is find a way to balance emotion with moving on and moving forward, even when things aren't going the way you planned. So the first, and there's a couple things to think about when doing this. The first thing is toss away things that lack progress. And so toss away doesn't mean flippantly, but really reflect on over time. Are you in a job that's going nowhere? Are you in a relationship that's going nowhere? Are you in a family dynamic that hasn't changed in months or years? Are you in a situation that isn't moving? Human beings only have a certain amount of energy to put into things in a given day. And while it's wonderful to hope that things change, sometimes there are situations professionally, personally, spiritually, relationally that just will never change or won't change as long as you're right there in front of the situation. And so removing those situations that aren't moving forward from your life can be one of the greatest things that you can do for yourself so that you can create opportunities to make positive changes in moving forward. The second thing is understanding the power of choice. So I one of the things when I work with people, and I've worked with 15,000 people in over 40 countries around the world over the last, what will be 14 years in October. Um, One of the phrases I hate is I feel I didn't have a choice. Now, I hate that phrase because there is always a choice. The reality is we may not like the consequences of the choice we make. We may not like the way it makes us feel. We may not like the way that the following events, the events right after it pan out. But there's always choice, even if a person is held at gunpoint. Do we negotiate with a terrorist who's holding us at gunpoint, or do we submit to their will? Do we try to fight and defend ourselves, or do we go into docile sense? Do we run or do we stay put? I mean, in every situation, the power of choice is always ours. And so when I hear a person say that they didn't have a choice, I couldn't find a choice is a phrase that is acceptable. I didn't have a choice is never ever true, and so it's counterproductive. The next thing is confront your fears. So obviously, if you're afraid of heights and you don't want to go bungee jumping, that's fine. But at the same time, the things you're most afraid of are also the things that, when confronted, can force you to grow at the most rapid rate. To tell people that in my teenage years, which unfortunately were decades ago now, I was afraid of public speaking. I was afraid of being in front of a group of people, but then I wanted desperately to get into broadcasting, and so I had to confront that fear. And then there was a period of time where I was afraid to be social and lead conversations. And in my early 20s, I confronted that fear. The times at which you confront your fears are the times where you grow the most. And sometimes confronting a fear can just be a one off, and it goes badly. And so what? As long as you're still breathing, as long as you're still alive, you can rebound tomorrow, next week, or next month. But if you never move past your fear, you're going to have a self-imposed limitation that will be with you for as long as you don't confront it, and that can be super frustrating and disempowering in a lot of ways. The next thing is, remember, you want to be tough. Push your body. In other words, and obviously speak with a doctor and your medical team first, but at the same time, get into an exercise regimen. And I mean spiritual exercise, emotional exercise, and physical exercise. So, spiritual exercise looks like meditation or prayer or some form of creating a gratitude practice. Physical exercise obviously can be something as simple as going for a walk every day, aerobics, getting on a machine, weightlifting, yoga, whatever that looks like. Emotional exercises is doing the self-reflective work. If you're not journaling or reflecting or setting goals or having a vision board or doing something that is moving you forward in confronting emotions, positive and negative, and kind of balancing those, you're wasting part of your life that you'll never get back. Because emotional check-ins, if you do them weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever, are part of the evolution of who you are as a person. And so making a disciplined decision to do them and make time for them as often as you can, just like you would make time for physical exercise and relationship building, can be really, really powerful. The next thing is let go of that which is limiting you in belief. Do you believe that a certain political party should have power, but they don't? Do you believe that a relationship should have worked out, but it didn't? Do you believe that this one religion or worldview is right, but everyone around you doesn't? Let go of the things you cannot change and focus on the things you can. Look, you may not be able to change another person's opinion. Then again, you may a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. You may not be able to change your circumstances today, but that doesn't mean you can't put out resumes. Let go of the environments that you cannot change. The biggest thing that gets people stuck and makes them weak is they become passive observers in their own lives. And so what happens is they go, wait, 5 years went by, 10 years went by, 20 years went by, and I never accomplished what I wanted to in that time. And the older you get, the quicker time seems to go by. It's not actually real. It's just our frame of reference changes. But, what a year looks like when you're 10 years old, what a year looks like when you're 25 is much different, and what a year looks like when you're 45 is much different. And so what you're putting energy into should have some chance of paying off for you. If it doesn't, it means it's time to let it go. Be grateful on purpose. So I tell people all the time, if you're really trying to change negative thought patterns and negative habits and really get tougher about life, look, there are a lot of ugly things out there. The last year with the pandemic has certainly taught us that, in fact, unfortunately people have passed away, and it looks like more people will before this is over, and people have lost businesses, people have lost relationships, people have lost nest eggs for the future, for their retirement, but there's still things to be grateful for. The sun is still rising. Cute animals are still cute. A mountainscape is still awesome to look at. The tide still comes in and goes out every day. Your friends are still your friends. Your support system is still your support system. The ability to build a new support system still exists if you got committed to finding one thing to be grateful for 1 month straight, and you added it to a written list. You'd have 30 things to be grateful for at the end of a month. And if you look back at the whole list, you'd realize your life isn't nearly as bad as you think it is. But we often focus on that which causes us the most pain or the most pleasure. We are pain or pleasure creatures. And so a person who is trying to avoid certain things might be focused on pleasure. That's where addiction comes from, and negative behaviors come from as coping mechanisms. Or they might be addicted to pain, which is where things like mental illness and a lot of that begins. When you fixate on pain, things, overwhelm us a lot. When we fixate on gratitude, though, we can shift how we believe in what's there. The next is surrender to life being an ever-evolving thing. And so sometimes you're excuse me. Sometimes you're ahead. Sometimes you're behind. Sometimes you feel in control, and sometimes you feel you have no control. But the fact of the matter is, if you surrender to the fact that life is a work in progress and a work in process, meaning it's not always going to be what you want, but it's never going to be as bad as you think, then you can master life, because when you're on an upswing, you take advantage of it. When you're on a downswing, you recover. And you understand that life is a fulcrum. It goes up, it goes down. It's kind of like a seesaw. There will be good times. You know, Billy Joel has a line in a song, the good old days weren't always good and tomorrow isn't as bad as it seems. And that is so true. And so when we focus on that, that's where true power comes from. So hopefully this has been helpful. We've got over 360 other audios. Please check them out. Subscribe, like, comment below, and all that good stuff. Until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment.